busy day for me. I spent the morning doing something not a lot of radio shows get to do, and that's broadcast from Monticello. And they opened their visitor center just 2 days after President Jefferson's birthday. The lone elected official on our dais is not here because he is one, but because he currently sits in the very first elected seat that Thomas Jefferson ever sat in, and that is the representative of the 58th District in our House of Delegates, in the oldest representative elected body in the world, the Commonwealth of Virginia. And I want you all to teach your kids an expression that it's not "don't tread on me." Teach them that as well. Sic semper tyrannis. Ladies and gentlemen, Rob Bell.
They said there'd be 50, maybe 60 people here, but I swing by and I see 50 or 60 conservatives, and I thought, well, goodness, it's Charlottesville. I better come by to see that 50 or 60 people. Now, Joe Thomas is right. So this morning we went out with a bunch of people who are probably here to Monticello, and they've opened up their new visitor center. And if you go to the visitor center, you'll see there's a spectacular new statue of Jefferson. They've got a library. They've got classrooms for the kids who come from all over the country. But if Thomas Jefferson were looking down on us from his big telescope up in the sky, and he's looking down, I'm sure that right about now, he has stopped looking at Monticello, and he has turned that telescope over to this amphitheater, because he is so excited to see this kind of rowdy democracy in Virginia. It's Thomas Jefferson. You know, if you look at him now and you talk to kids and you see him on the nickel and you see him if you have a $2 bill, and he sounds like somebody who wrote great works. But there was a time when he was a rabble-rouser, when he was kind of a radical. Because there were two groups of our founding fathers. There were the ones who thought that the people's voices shouldn't be heard. Alexander Hamilton said, you know, we want some democracy, but not a whole lot. We don't want those people to actually do anything. But it's Thomas Jefferson who had a different approach. He said we want a boisterous democracy. We have faith in the power of the people. And that's what Thomas Jefferson stood for. He would have been so proud of this crowd. He'd been so proud of all of your work today. Thank you for coming out today. Now today is tax day. How many people pay their taxes like I did today? Okay, leave your hands up if you think you're paying too little. Okay. Thomas Jefferson had an idea about taxes. He said there should be no permanent taxes. That every year they should figure out what the government needs, what it needs, and they'll collect the taxes they need to pay for that and not a penny more. How radical is that? He had a budget. In the year 1800, when he was elected, the Democrats, when they came to power in Washington, with this radical rabble came to power, his national federal budget was $11 million. $11 million. Even if you take constant dollars from now until the present day, it just comes to $5.7 billion. $5.7 billion. Does everybody know what the current budget stands at? $3.6 trillion. $3.6 trillion. Now, I think there's a lot we can learn from Mr. Jefferson. We're trying to sort of cause a new movement of people that want to take the power back. He had some good ideas about what government should stand for, how frugal government should be. I want to read you his actual quotes. I've printed them off here. Mr. Jefferson saying what government should be about. He said, "A wise and frugal government which shall leave men free to regulate their own pursuits of industry and improvement, and shall not take from the mouth of labor the bread it has earned. This is the son of good government." And I said we've recently, of course, increased the national debt by more than we increased in the preceding 2 centuries. And he had some thoughts about that, too. Let me tell you what he said about that. He said, "The multiplication of public offices, increase of expense beyond income, growth and the entailment of public debt are indications soliciting the employment of the pruning knife." Who thinks we need a pruning knife in Washington right now?
Well, here's the problem. Yeah, we need a buzzsaw. That's exactly right. He didn't have buzzsaws back then. He thought a printing knife was a pretty good thing. Now, the second thing he thought was he thought the power resides not in politicians, not in the king, not in the president, but in the people. Here's what he said. It is an axiom in my mind that our liberty can never be safe, but in the hands of the people themselves, and that too of the people with a certain degree of instruction. This is the business of the state to effect, and on a general plan. Again, liberty can never be safe, but in the hands of the people. Who agrees with that? He had some pretty hard things to say about politicians, so let me just read one of them before you see what you think. He said, if once the people become inattentive to the public affairs, you and I and Congress and the assemblies, judges and governors shall all become wolves. That's what he said. It seems to be the law of our general nature in spite of individual exceptions. Ladies and gentlemen, it is upon you. You are the ones that have to keep the politicians honest. He also said, whenever the people are well informed, they can be trusted with their own government. Because whenever things get so far wrong to attract their notice, they may be relied upon to set them right. That was Mr. Jefferson speaking to you from 200 years ago. He was right then, he was right now. Now lastly, again, people see Mr. Jefferson now as a quiet man in a statue, but that was not the real Mr. Jefferson. Let me tell you what he said about being a little rowdy. He said, the spirit of resistance to government is so valuable on certain occasions that I wish it to be always kept alive. It will often be exercised when wrong, but better so than not to be exercised at all. I like a little rebellion now and then. Ladies and gentlemen, this is as exciting a speech, crowd, a group as I've ever seen. This is wonderful. I look forward to working with you all where you think I'm right and having you kick me in the tail when you think I'm wrong. It is your government. It's responsible for you, for all of us to take it back. Good luck and Godspeed.